This man doesn't hesitate to leap from the tall building, not because he won't die, but because as soon as it's 6 o'clock the next morning, he will wake up from his bed again. Phil is a weather announcer. Every year on February 2nd, a special day known as Groundhog Day, the residents will take a groundhog out of a cage. The legend says that it can predict when spring will arrive. If it can see its shadow, then winter will last for another 6 weeks. If it can't see its shadow, then spring will be here soon. Phil is sent to the town known as the weather capital of the world every year to broadcast, so he hates this day very much, but he doesn't realize that he will be trapped on this day forever. On February 2nd, Phil is woken up by an alarm clock at 6 a.m., and when he steps out of the door of his room, a fat tenant greets him warmly. Facing the tenant's enthusiasm, Phil just says 2 perfunctory sentences, then he meets the same enthusiastic landlord, but he doesn't care to talk to them more. On the street, a man shouts his name and comes to Phil. It turns out that they used to be high school classmates, and now he is an insurance salesman. He actively gives a sales pitch to Phil, but Phil makes excuses to quickly leave. However, he steps into a cold puddle.
Watch out for that first step, it's a doozy!
Phil reluctantly arrives at the location of the groundhog ceremony. He expertly completes his broadcast of the ceremony, but just as they are about to return, a heavy snowfall closes the roads. They are forced to return to the town. However, when the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock the next morning, the familiar announcement on the radio gives him a vague sense that something is not right, until he sees the same scene out the window as yesterday.
What the hell?
When he comes out of the room, he meets yesterday's fat tenant as usual, listens to the landlady saying the same things as yesterday, meets his high school classmates selling insurance as usual, and steps into the puddle without warning again. When he sees his colleague, he asks Rita to slap him. When he feels the pain, he realizes that it's not a dream. Before going to sleep, he breaks the pencil in 2, but when he wakes up, the pencil is intact in its original place. Phil is thus trapped in a time loop. He wakes up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning on February 2nd. He gradually feels that he can live his life without having to follow all sorts of rules. He drives his car onto the train tracks and knocks over the groundhog stand-up sign. He manages to get locked up in the police station. He stops stepping into that puddle, but watches other people step into it. He has no qualms about picking up a pretty woman and asking her for her name, the school she has attended, and even who her English teacher was, so that the next day he will be able to start a conversation with her without any problems. The time loop has made him so well acquainted with everyone in town that he can rob the money effortlessly.
9, 8, are 5 quarters.
Taking advantage of this time, he takes a bag of bills, after which they begin to doubt themselves.
You got 2 bags or what? I don't know.